All right, 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Blindgrass. I'm just Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver. How are you doing, Andy?
Good. Stork Shooters Unite. I got my Looking Glass Duck Club Stork Shooter hoodie today.
Y'all are united, huh?
Stork Shooters Unite, baby.
You think
Stork
Logan
Shooters
is going to wear the ensemble with you?
I'll talk to him.
Sounded like we could have an ensemble hunt. Bunch of you guys dressed like cocksuckers running around here to do a hunt, a gentleman's hunt.
I've had more messages about that.
What? Positive?
Yeah,
all of them?
positive, yeah. I've
only seen one dude post a picture, and that was it.
What do you mean?
Well, only one guy said was Jeff calling me a cocksucker with this.
A guy sent me a picture just right before we got on the air about he's got a group that.
So y'all are going to do a gentleman's hunt?
It's a husband and wife, and they're dressed to the nines and shooting a Perazzi. Is that what it is?
You're not going to be buying Perazzi.
No.
Jesse was not going to let you.
How much are those?
If I told you it was $25,000 or $150,000, I don't know. They're expensive guns, though, I believe.
He said he figures their ensemble is $1,500
for their ensemble.
Yeah.
So you're going to end up buying you?
No. I'm not. He just said he figures their outfit's about $1,500 and they're shooting.
$1,500, not $15,000.
No, $1,500.
Oh yeah, I can see that. So you're going to go all out on this ensemble.
We'll
Are
see.
you getting you some tweed socks?
Ensemble on a budget.
Which ones? Are you going to get you some tweed socks?
I don't know. We'll see. It'll all come together.
I'll bet you that you could find some old men that have got some stuff that you would wear.
Maybe.
I quail hunted with some guys in Wichita, some older guys when I was about 22, 23 years old, and they were dressed out in the nines.
Got to be.
Had the tweed coat and the wool pants and the high boots. And well, I'm glad to see you doing that. Are you going to get your little cocksucker hat?
Probably.
We should get us some big honker cocksucker hats and have them for sale. I don't even know what the official name of that cap is called.
It's New England. I don't know. New England style hat.
So you think Logan's going to jump in on this with you?
We'll talk about it.
Okay. Well,
introduce our guest.
I'm going to. Our guest today is from New York Mills, Minnesota. He's a young man. He owns a company called Midwest Pile Company. He works at Dirty Bird Outfitters, Mr. Charlie Fox. Charlie, how you doing?
I'm doing lovely today. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
How is it like living in the land of Muslims?
I mean, where I'm at, we don't have too many, I would say, ethnicities. A lot of us, I mean, every once in a while we get some Spanish people and stuff like that working at Lund boats and whatnot, but nothing too crazy. You go down more towards the cities, and that's when it gets pretty ethnically heavy down there.
Y'all would be okay kicking Minneapolis out of the state of Minnesota, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I try not to go down there as much as possible. My girlfriend actually lives she's from Rochester, Minnesota, and I try to not go down there as much as possible just because of, kind of what's going on in this day and age. I really don't like going through that type of stuff and having to put myself in that type of situation, so I just kind of stray away from there as much as possible unless I'm going to the airport or something like that.
If I lived in Minneapolis and I had kids or grandkids, my family would be going somewhere right now and getting the fuck out of town for at least a couple of weeks. I don't trust anything going on.
Our governor's pretty. He's a top water in my opinion. He's kind of a just roll over and let it happen. He actually sent out a mass email / text message to the residents of the Twin Cities when all the George Floyd riots were going on, and telling all the residents to, not fight back and just let all the rioters and the looters take their stuff and just let it happen and not fight back. And I don't agree with that at all, so it's a good thing that I don't live down there. That's all I got to say about that.
I think before the next 10 days are out, we're going to see the same shit happen in Minneapolis that happened last year, but it's going to get out in the suburbs, and I think you're going to see some guy grab his gun and shoot a bunch of fuckers, and it's going to start another big deal. But that's what it's going to have to, is we're going to have a citizen say, fuck it, I'm done with this shit. Why would you let someone burn your business down?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me. I just don't understand. I mean, you see even these businesses, I mean, like what happened over in Portland with that Apple store that was, Apple's donated millions of dollars to the Black Lives Matter community, the whole movement itself, and they went out there and just ransacked the shit out of it and burnt the whole thing to the ground. So, I mean, that goes to show what they're what they're all about. They really don't care about nothing. They're just out there to, cause chaos and take whatever they can home. And at the end of the day, they're not really all about that whole all lives matter, Black Lives Matter movement, whatever the heck it may be. They are just out there for themselves, in my opinion, just to cause, mass chaos.
I saw a funny, somebody took a picture, and it was, these people had yard signs in their yard. It said Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter, Gay Lives Matter, and the caption was, "Gee, it's getting awfully close to saying that all lives matter."
Yeah, no, they all lives do matter. You said something that was interesting, talking about them burning Apple down. When we re-signed our insurance, there's a clause now in insurances for businesses that say inside of a ride or whatever, blah blah blah, your place ain't covered no more like it used to be.
Right.
So these fuckers that own these businesses, they better guard them with a gun, because these assholes go burning shit down. There's nothing you can do, and it's to the point, I never thought, and I'm older, I'm 53 years old, in my lifetime that I would see this. And it's the disrespectfulness. It's the third generation of babies raising babies. There's no parents. It's bad parenting, and we have gotten to a point now that we are seeing the dismantling of the United States of America, what it is. And unless we have an actual split up of our country with the conservative states and the other ones, the conservative states are the place to live. The other ones are going to be just like the fucking Middle East. Just a shithole that everybody fights in. Well, let's get off politics. Let's get into you. So, how old are you?
Let's get into you. How about that? That sounds fun.
I'm actually 21 years old. I'm pretty young.
Well, you've got a 21-year-old mustache, so we can tell you're a young man.
Yeah, this is that's one thing that I'm pretty well known for around a lot of my buddies and whatnot, is I can grow a pretty good mustache. This is I've left it on for, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks now of having it on, so I can grow a pretty okay mustache.
And your girlfriend's okay with the stash?
No, she hates it. She absolutely hates it. So, but that's all right.
You look like
there's a thing that you got to have a mustache if you're going to kill stuff. So
maybe that's what I need to do, because the turkeys have been kicking my ass this last week. I need to just cut a stash. See if there's any truth.
Yeah, do it.
So, you hunt around Fergus Falls area? Is that where y'all do most of y'all's hunting?
Yeah, right around, so early season, we kind of drift off to the Breckenridge area. One of our guys that works for us, his father is a sheriff over there, has lived there for many, many years. And his dad has a lot of connections and whatnot to landowners out there. And so early season, Fergus Falls really doesn't hold that many birds. So that's when we kind of drift off over to the Breckenridge area, the Carlisle area. And that's where we do a lot of our hunting. But then more towards late season, when we start getting a lot of migrators and stuff rolling in, that's when we bounce back over to Fergus Falls. And that's where we do probably, I would say, 75% of our hunting all season, early season all the way through till season close is over in Fergus Falls.
So you know our friend Dave Reese then?
Yes, I do know Dave Reese, actually. So the somebody who I'm talking about, Dylan Teberg is actually his name. He has a cousin by the name of Brandon Teberg who actually works for Dave. Dave's a very good guy.
Yeah, Dave worked for us for about 8 years. So.
Okay. Yep, I didn't know that. So, Dave's a very, very respectable man. I have nothing but good things to say about him.
Goose. There ain't nobody you can learn to goose hunt better from than Dave Reese, I'm telling you right now.
He's got some of the best spots in Fergus Falls, in my opinion. It's a pretty hot and heavy competition on having spots and whatnot. I mean, if you have a lease on some land, some pits and stuff like that, then it's pretty, sound and set, you're good to go. But if you're trying to get, permission for land and whatnot, it's pretty hot and heavy. But Dave he's always been a good guy. So, like I said, I've only ran into him a couple times, at the gas station grabbing stuff, whatnot. He's got a pit over by one of our other pits that we hunt out of. So I've ran into a couple times.
So
he's a pretty good
you're
guy.
shooting all the rivet bands like he is, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's crazy. It's kind of tempered off this year. I would have to say, with the kind of the wonky weather that we had going on, we didn't really see, like, I would want to say, the full migration that we've seen in past years. So they're out of all the outfits in town. I mean, you got Pit Properties, you got Feet Down, you got us. There's another guy. I don't even know if it's like Honker Stomp. No, it's not Honker Stomp. It's some random guy. He just started out like this year, last year, something like that. And then you got Dave, Usually, typically, the migration is in full swing when you start seeing double bands, pretty regularly in town, in the parks and stuff like that. And this year, I want to say that there was probably only maybe 30 or so double bands that were shot, 40 or so double bands that were shot. I mean, throughout the whole scene, I mean, that's like unheard of. So the bands and everything they didn't fall as they should have this year, in my opinion. And I think that is solely due to the weather that we had not pushing them down.
So these double bands, where are most of them from whenever you shoot them?
So all the double bands are from up in Manitoba. They actually just stopped doing them. I'm pretty sure it was this previous year. They did 4,000 of them, and now they're done.
Never doing it again?
Yeah. Well, that's up until now they're done doing them for now. I don't know if they plan on restarting it in the near future or in the distant future. But as of now, they're done doing the double bands. So, but every single double band that you kill is from the exact same place. It's a double band. It's a regular single stainless steel on one leg, and then it's a rivet band on the other leg. So,
and why are they cutting this program?
I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth. I don't know a whole lot about why they're cutting it. I don't know if they've just done so many of them or what the deal is, but I'm not really totally sure on why they're cutting it all off. So
that's interesting. I mean, I'm sure it's just like everything else, and government cuts back all the time. So
yeah, that's kind of what I think is happening. So
you can't have too many more trillions of dollars added to the deficit and keep banning fucking geese and ducks.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
we got to put a bunch of illegals up in the Hilton, so we got to put that money elsewhere. Yeah. So you also guide snow goose hunts, is that correct?
Yep, yeah. I actually, so I went down to Arkansas and worked for Dirty Bird. I worked with Trevor Bennett this year down there, and I had an absolute blast. It was fantastic. I know Arkansas, in my opinion, if you want to, kind of separate boys from the men, you send them down to Arkansas, and that's where the boys will, end up packing their stuff up after about a week and saying, I'm done with this, and the men just kind of put their nose to the grindstone. They keep going. You say
it's separating boys from men. I think it's separating people with a brain from people without a fucking brain. There ain't no way I'd want to do that shit.
I am a boy.
Absolutely.
I am a boy.
How many guides are guiding snow goose hunts that are over the age of 35?
I'm trying to think here right now.
Very few.
Well, how old is John Olson? He's got to be in his lower 30s, upper 30s, maybe middle 30s, maybe he's like 35, 34, something like that, maybe. I'm not really sure. As far as I know, he's one of the oldest guys that's doing it. But in my opinion, John Olson, he is one of the smartest guys to hunt snow geese to date right now. He is, the way that he does it is pretty crazy. He knows how to work a flock, in my opinion.
My point was, with age comes wisdom, and old people ain't laying in the mud and doing that shit. That is a young man's game, which is great. It is. I had no problem with it. I don't know. It's a separating men and boys. I think as we get older, we get wiser. That is a tough game that y'all do down there. There's no doubt about that. A lot of respect for you guys that do it. That's hard work. What's the most snow goose you killed this spring?
So our best hunt right now, I think we killed, what the heck was it? It was like, I think we killed 89 on one hunt, plus I don't know how many. It was in the middle of a snowstorm, so Arkansas got hammered by the snowstorm for about 2 weeks, and the snow geese down there were just going crazy. They couldn't leave, they couldn't go back down south, they were just stuck. They didn't have any food, they didn't have any water, everything was frozen over, and so we set up on this edge hide one day. And, I mean, it's not very often when you get adult snow geese to just belly out to, and they're setting up in front of you at about 3 feet. And that's pretty much what happened. We shot 89 this day, and the snow just kept piling on. And by the end of it, I'm sure we had, I don't know how many cripples out there that were running around that just got buried by the snow, and we just let the dogs out at the end of the day when we were all said and done, picking up decoys, and the dogs brought back probably 4 or 5 snow geese that had been buried in the snow, and that's not even to say how many more were out there. I mean, we walked around tried finding a bunch of them, but it was just blowing so cold, so nasty out there that we decided to take some pics and just get the heck out of Dodge. But that was our best day. The best hunt that Dirty Bird had in total was by one of our other guides, Nick Marcy's. He shot 198 one day.
That's a big hunt.
Yeah, we had a couple really good hunts this year. So
now, overall, what was the snow goose season like?
It was pretty. I mean, it's long, it's grueling, it's definitely test your mindset as a waterfowl hunter, on why you want to be there. But I think, in my opinion, for my first time going down south, I think it was pretty good. Not a lot of stuff went wrong. That's kind of how I judge it. I mean, we only blew one belt on our four-wheeler when we could have blew, 5. We only blew 1. The killing wise, I mean, it was, when we had that snow, killing was good. We killed a lot of birds. But adult snow geese are adult snow geese. I mean, you're hunting birds that have seen, thousands and thousands of spreads, flying down. But in my opinion, I think it was good.
Now, when it was snowing like that, I mean, could they even see your decoys whenever that snow piled up high enough?
So when it was snowing real heavy like that, a lot of times we'd have to get out of the blind and go around and pick decoys up, out of the snow. But a lot of the times we would just really depend on that e-collar, to suck them down. That hunt of 89, actually that morning, right when it was starting to snow, right as it got daylight, right at shooting light, we had a flock come in of about probably 100 or so snow geese. And they couldn't even see our decoys. They just heard our e-collar. That's all they heard. And we shot into them. I think we rained out like 12. And I know for a fact that they couldn't see our decoys against the snow and the wind and stuff like that. They just heard our e-collar, and they knew that that's where they were supposed to be. So that's where they wanted to be.
How long did you stay? Did you travel? Like, did you go from Arkansas to Missouri and up, or did you just stay in Arkansas?
So I stayed in Arkansas for a full month, and then I went down to Texas after that, went and visited some family, came back up, ran to South Dakota, did a little bit of hunting out there, but pretty much just Arkansas this year. Next year, there's talk about us, going to a couple different states and whatnot, but this year we just did Arkansas, South Dakota, and North Dakota for Dirty Birds. So.
I think one of the things with the snow goose hunting is for the guys that have never done that, when you talk about the 198 birds and stuff, every client that's never done that, they're expecting that. And I think that's one of the hard parts for you guys is the reality is there's a lot of days y'all are shooting single digits to 30 birds. That's probably more.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the big things that I actually tell people, is any random guy, can jump on the internet and Google spring hunt snow goose, and the first couple videos that'll pop up are, the Max Prairie Wings, the snow goose tournament this year or whatever, and they see these videos of, a couple hundred birds getting shot, and they have this mentality in their head of, there's no limit, I have 13 shells in my gun, hundreds of thousands of birds working over me, and they just have this, thought that gets put in their head of, well, we're going to be shooting 100 birds or, 50 birds every single day. And a lot of the times, unless you get into a really good juvie pocket, it's not like that. Or, you just get some adults that are real hungry, freshly migrated in. It's just not like that. And it's tough dealing with, people like that. I mean, we're lucky. We get a lot of guys that understand that our bird hunters, they know that it's hunting, that it's not just killing. So
you're putting it all in a basket, hoping to hit the right thing, and you book a 3-day hunt. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, you got to understand that. I had a guy call me in February about it, and he'd hunted in Arkansas, and the hunting wasn't very good for 3 days. He said, "What, are y'all doing any of them hunts?" I was like, "Hell, we don't do that." I said, but
yeah.
What you're getting into is an opportunity to shoot a bunch of birds. I mean, it's hunting. But the chances, that's what you're hoping for, is to hit that triple-digit hunt. It just don't happen as often. But I think the first-time guys, plus I think a lot of outfitters oversell that to people. Instead of just being honest with them, I think they're like, oh, yeah, we shoot we kill 150 birds and do this and that's what they're expecting. And that's not fair to the guides.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Our boss, Matt Pio, he is fantastic. Matt is one of the best, most down-to-earth guys, and he just tells it as it is, in my opinion. He's straight shooter, has nothing but, facts to say he's a dang good hunter in my opinion. And I don't think that we really as guides have to worry about him, overselling us or whatever. I mean, to guys making it seem like we're shooting, hundreds every day and whatnot. So, but I do agree that there are a lot of people in the industry that make it seem like they're shooting, 100 birds every day or whatnot. I think it's mainly done for social media and whatnot, the clout, quote unquote, the clout of Instagram, the clout of social media. They just want to be that public figure or whatnot, and I think it's pretty lame in my opinion to be like that. So
what were the hours like this year? Was it better or worse than what you were expecting? This being your first year.
Well, pretty much every day we'd wake up at, some days, depending on how far we were hunting. If we were hunting in Stuttgart, which is down south from where we were at, we were in Morrow. If we were hunting down in Stuttgart, we'd get up at like 2:30, 2 o'clock every morning. But if we were hunting, somewhere close within 30 minutes of the lodge, we'd get up right about 3 o'clock, 3:30, go set up. Usually we were hunting out of A-frames this year, doing a lot of edging, stuff like that. We'd help set up, hunt. Typically we'd hunt until about 11 o'clock, and either we'd be getting into them and we'd stay for a little bit longer, hunt for a couple more hours if we thought it was worth it. If not, we'd pick up. We'd go back to camp, back to the lodge, and then we'd scout the rest of the afternoon. We were talking, usually we'd get a 30-minute nap, 45-minute nap in when we were getting lunch and whatnot. But typically, a typical day was from about 3 o'clock till all the way about 9, 10 o'clock, typically.
That's some long days.
Hell.
Yeah, the biggest thing, I think, in my opinion, that made everything, extremely, easy going is the people that we were working around. We had a really good crew this year. One of my buddies from back home, we had some guys quit on us. The second day, before the season really even started, we had some guys quit on us. And I called up one of my buddies, his name's Justin Sears, and I got on the phone with him. And I said, hey, man, we got a spot open down here. I said, I need you here in 2 days. Can you do that? And he goes, yeah, I'll pack my bags right now. And he got down there, and he helped me and Trevor, and it was awesome. Everything flowed really well. Just a great group of guys, in my opinion. So we worked really well.
What did they quit for? The guys. What did the two guys quit for? What were their reasons?
They kind of went off and started their own little deal with one of the other guys. So I won't get into too much about that. It's kind of a touchy subject with some of the guys, but they went off and they started their own little deal and did what they did. And I don't have nothing against them. They're good guys, but they just kind of quit on us. Left on a dime and didn't really say nothing too much about it. So they kind of left us hanging, looking for workers. And lucky enough, we had some good guys in our back pocket, thankfully, to come help us out.
That's pretty shitty of them.
They started a place like in the same area that y'all were hunting in?
They went down. I want to say they went more to the southwest kind of, I think, but yeah, pretty much doing the same deal, guiding snow goose hunts and whatnot. So,
but not in y'all's area though.
They were kind of in our area. I wouldn't say they were in our area. They were around us on a couple of their hunts and whatnot that we've seen them scouting the same areas and whatnot. But I just don't think that they could really get into any of the land that we had access to. So that's a good
pretty
thing.
Shitty though. So they were working for y'all, then quit right as the season started, then started running their own customers in the same area that they were hunting with for y'all.
Crazy.
Pretty
that's
much.
Pretty shitty right there.
So
that takes balls.
That's part of that whole game though nowadays. That's not that.
Yeah, it really is.
What's crazy is that they had enough clients to start out on their own, but not even mention it. Like they start out with Dirty Bird. They know that they've got clients booked, or maybe they were coming with you guys. I don't know, and made them. Maybe they just switched them. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They didn't. we really didn't conversate with them too much. And I mean, if we'd seen them on the road, we'd say hi to a couple of them. But I mean, it is what it is, in my opinion. You can't. I mean, if they want to start their own thing, you can't really blame them. I mean, nobody really likes having a boss. Obviously, everybody likes doing their own thing, but there's a point where there's right and wrong and whatnot. Obviously, so.
Yeah. How was Mikey this year? How was Mikey?
Mikey? Oh, I actually didn't work with Mikey this year. He was based out of our Stuttgart place. Him and Matt Akron ran over there. I was over in our Morrow place. Most of our bigger group was over in Morrow with us. So
you didn't get to share the field with Mikey Soberano.
No, not this year. I didn't. I met him one time. He came over and we had a night off and we drank a couple beers and whatnot. Just kind of, bullshitted around all the guys and hung out and whatnot. But other than that, I really didn't get to hunt with him or nothing like that. So
you missed out.
Most incriminating person I've ever been around in my entire life.
Yeah, he
can tell shit about himself that nobody else would ever say.
Yeah, he's something else. So have you gotten to go up into Canada any? Have you been up there?
No, I haven't. So typically, I don't do a whole lot of hunting up in Canada. I do a bunch of fishing up there, up on Lake Clearwater. And actually, so it would have been about right around when COVID started last year. We were actually out fishing on the ice, and we got a call from Border Control and the Customs and whatnot, and they said, because our buddy Dylan T-Berg, he was with us, his dad's a police officer. So they called Rick, is his name, Rick T-Berg, and they said, you guys have 24 hours to get back to the border, otherwise we're closing it off, whatnot, yada, yada, yada. So we were, out on this lake, we have 3 ice shacks set up, and we just got done drilling holes, and we're like, well, shit, we got to pick all this up. Picked all of our stuff up, hightailed it back to our cabin, and we made it back to the border. We were about 7.5 hours away from the border, but we got back to the border with about 2 hours to spare, thankfully. But yeah, COVID's put a pretty big damper on heading up there, so it's less than ideal in my opinion. Trevor wanted to head up there this year when we were all done. I've never hunted up there, so it was definitely something I wanted to do, but COVID has other ideas right now, so hopefully it opens up here in the near future, or even in the distant future. As long as it opens up, that'd be perfect. But COVID has other ideas right now.
Canada's not opening up. I can guarantee you right now in this fat boy's life that Canada is not going to open up until 2022 or 2023 if it opens again. I mean, fuck, they just went on bigger lockdowns again.
Yeah,
they don't give two shits about the people. They're conservatives in their country, and that's the people that it's hurting. So they're not going to do anything to change it. Shit, Michigan ought to be part of Canada the way it's acting now too. They're locking everything down also, and I don't understand. It's hard to believe that you've got an imaginary boundary. Like in Texas, we don't have to wear a mask anywhere. Nothing. It's no different than it was in 2017, other than we got a dumbass for a president. You can go anywhere you want to.
Yep.
I mean, nothing's changed, and you can go across the state line somewhere, and you're in communist Russia. And I feel sorry for you people who are living in blue states. I feel sorry for y'all because y'all got to wear a mask everywhere still, don't you?
Yeah, we're supposed to. I don't wear a mask anywhere. If somebody wants to say something to me, I'll just say, hey, I've got asthma, whatever. Come up with some excuse not to wear it. But if I don't got to wear it, I'm not wearing it. And if somebody wants to chirp me about it, they can chirp me all they want about it. But at the end of the day, I'm my own person. Just like if somebody wants to go get a vaccine, somebody doesn't want to get a vaccine. That's everyone's opinion. That's the great thing about America. You're entitled to your own opinion.
Well, until today, you can't now. But you're right. Did you y'all pit blind hunt? Did you ever have days where you had guys, everybody in your group was wearing a mask, or did most guys not wear a mask in the pits unless it was cold?
No, actually, we never had to worry about any of our clients wearing masks or nothing like that. A lot of our guys are pretty very, very red, so they're not big fans of, buying and whatnot, the mask mandates and whatever, so we never had to worry about anything like that.
So that's the same here at the lodge. We didn't have anybody wearing a mask in this lodge all year long. They'd get here from the city. Some of the city people or out-of-state people would get here, and they'd kind of look around. They'd get out their vehicle, and they'd see nobody else was wearing a mask, and you could tell what every one of them was saying. Fuck it, they ain't wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is here too. It makes you feel good. I have noticed that, when I travel a lot, that when you get outside of the big cities, everybody's the same. I don't care if you're in small town West Texas, western Minnesota, Montana, upstate New York. Everybody's the same. We all have the same beliefs and rights, and we all want the same thing. So that's good to hear. So I was in upstate or the upper part of Minnesota about a month and a half ago. On those border lakes, can you go over in Canada and fish there, or do they actually get on? Do they check that?
No, yeah. So actually, I just got back from fishing on the Rain River, which is a border water, and on our GPS little deal, the Hummingbird that we got, it's got a red line that runs down the whole entire river, right down the middle of it, and you are not allowed to fish on that other side of that red line. I mean, if you want to risk it, you can, absolutely. But they've got border control and whatnot that'll they run up and down in the boats. Game wardens run up and down in the boats and whatnot. And if you're fishing over the boundary, they'll write you a ticket. So a lot of people aren't doing that. So
what's a ticket cost?
I honestly couldn't even tell you. I have no idea. I've never had to deal with one, thankfully. So I'm not really sure. But I'd probably, if I had to guess, I'd probably say right around $150 to $200 something dollars. Probably.
I know in Canada, if you get caught out of your house, it's $750. If you get caught out of your house, that's a reason to be out. I was really disappointed in Ely, Minnesota, being locked down like it was. I figured a small town and dependent on tourism, that they would be really open minded, and they've bought into the blue pill big time up there.
Yeah, Minnesota's really, everyone's bought into it pretty hard. We got a lot of, people say there's Karens, quote unquote. We got a lot of those running around where, pull your mask up above your nose and put your mask on and stuff. And it's ridiculous. I mean, it's just otherworldly, in my opinion, to realize that people are so quick to just throw all of their, God-given rights away and just, be a sheep, in my opinion, and just follow the rules, follow the rules.
You imagine the Minnesota Twins baseball team. They come to Texas and they play in front of 50,000 people because 100%, no nothing. It's like a regular baseball. Then they go back home and they play in front of nobody. Mm-hmm. And that's got to be so just pain in your ass. What's going to happen to the Boundary Waters this summer? Because I've been up there and fished before, and you go to Canada and fish. A lot of people do. That's got to be just killing those businesses up there.
Oh yeah, I would have no doubt in my mind that we'll see a lot of small businesses, fishing guides and whatnot close. I don't know how Canada's unemployment and stuff works, where if you're an independent business owner, if you can file differently and receive government funding and whatnot, but I could definitely see a lot of those small businesses closing. So it'll be kind of, as soon as it does open up, whenever that may be, it'll be shocking to see if some of those services are still, available.
So do you think that without the hunting pressure in Canada, do you think that could have affected your migration where you are?
I definitely think that it did affect it, absolutely. That was a big factor, but I think probably the biggest factor was the weather that we had, in my opinion, like I said earlier. I mean, you don't have guys up there that are pushing them down. You don't have the weather pushing them down. So, I mean, if it's nice and they can sit somewhere where they're safe, they feel safe like that, a little sanctuary, that's where they're going to stay. If they don't have a reason to leave, they're going to stay there as long as they possibly can. So, kind of wait it out, because they know, in my opinion, they know as soon as they cross that border, they know they're going to get shot at, just like speckled bellies up in North Dakota and the Dakotas and stuff like that. I think they're hard to hunt up there. They're smart when they're up there. And then you get some speckled bellies down like Arkansas and stuff like that. I hunted them down there. They're dumber than a box of rocks. I mean, it's just like a switch flips in their head, and they think that they're safe when they're crossing. I think they've got like these little imaginary lines that they fly over, they fly over them, and the switch just flips in their head, and they just become dumb, in my opinion. So
do you
it's think that's kind of what
Do
happens.
you get many ducks where you're at there in Fergus Falls? Around where you hunt?
Yeah. I wouldn't say we get a ton, but we get our fair share amount. If we're hopping around, we get chopped cornfields and stuff like that that'll load up pretty good with mallards. About 2 years ago, we had a chopped cornfield that we hunted in, and we hunted it for probably 2 weeks, where we'd hunt it every like 3 days or something like that. And we would shoot 5 man of mallards out of there every couple of days with clients and stuff like that. I mean, it was super fun. I mean, they were just in there thicker than you can imagine, and I'd never seen anything like it up around there. But and then I mean, there's a couple feet down. They've got a 14 man blind out on a little lake that they've got, and they hunt ducks and stuff out of there. It's a goose pond, technically, is what it is. But they sent it with a lease, and they built a blind out there, and they shoot the heck out of the divers and stuff out there. So power to them, I guess. But yeah, the ducks are there. I mean, we don't run into a ton of them out of the pits. Every once in a while, you'll get some mallards or something like that. But I wouldn't say it's anything super common to shoot them out of the pits. But it's pretty common to find them in a cornfield or something like that around there.
The pit's the greatest thing in the world to hunt out of. I mean, it's cold, and you can make breakfast if you want to. It just seems like the fucking cat's meow compared to somebody that's got to sit in an A-frame every day.
If you hand me, you could say, here, you can hunt out of an A-frame, and it's a nice day, you don't need a heater or whatever, or you can hunt out of this pit, and it's going to be colder and, piss outside, and you get a heater, and you can cook breakfast and whatnot. I'm going to take a pit every time. I mean, it's just, your hide's 10 times better. I mean, you don't have to worry about, geese really seeing you. The only thing you got to worry about is if you got some, guy on the end sticking his head out of the hole trying to look at where the geese are at. I mean, you don't have to worry about nothing. I mean, it's there. The decoys are already set. You just walk out there, jump in pretty much, and you're set. You're ready to roll.
Do you ever have clients? I've never hunted in a pit in my life. Do you ever had clients complain about not being able to see what's going on, or are they able to watch the birds working?
Yep, yeah. A lot of the times, so whoever's running the hunt, typically they'll have their lid open a little bit more than everybody else is. We always tell people there's a 3-finger rule. If you can fit 3 fingers up vertically into your where the pit lid's at, that's good enough for you. Everybody else is, the guides or whatever, will have it open, probably about 8 inches. So that we can see the birds work, and we'll be talking to everybody, trying to let them know what's going on and whatnot. But we've had people, complain where it's like, well, I can't hear you, they're down the end or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, I'll try and speak up next time. But yeah, every once in a while we get people that complain and whatnot. It is what it is, in my opinion. Can't really.
So they don't really get
everybody.
They don't get to see the birds work at all or anything. Then they're just basically sitting down until you say shoot them, and then they jump up and the birds are there.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, every once in a while, you will get those birds that are, they'll come right out of town, and they'll walk up as soon as they get out of town. They'll see your spread, and they are locked on, on a beeline, heat-seeking missiles right towards you. That's when, everyone's like, all right, you can have your pit lid open and just be ready. You can see them, they're coming, they're going to be here, and they don't even do a pass or nothing. They are just, as soon as they're there, they're sitting down.
How far outside of town are you hunting for these birds?
Okay, so I'd probably say about maybe a mile at max. Sometimes even closer than that. I know feet down, they've got a couple pits and stuff that are a little closer to town. Pit Properties has got some pits that are pretty close to town. I hunt there's a farm right out of there. That's probably the closest to town for anybody. They've got the most land around town, and that's probably only maybe half a mile, quarter mile outside of town.
So
maybe.
they just get up off the roost and just fucking lock her down and right to you the whole way. Oh.
Yeah, the whole way. Oh. There's no questions, ifs, ands, or buts about it. They want to be there, so they're going to be there.
Y'all got water everywhere, though. That's a really beautiful area right through there. But
yeah, we have a lot of water. So the Fergus Falls has there's like 4 or 5 roosts typically. There's Oscar, Johnson, there's the Levee, there's the river, and then every once in a while there'll be some like little side waters outside of town that'll hold some geese and stuff like that. So, but Fergus Falls holds a pretty healthy amount of geese, in my opinion. Like when it comes. When the migrators and stuff start rolling through, I mean, a couple 100,000, and they've got to eat, and so a lot of times you're running traffic and stuff, but a lot of times if you want to chase feeds and stuff, you can do that too. We're lucky enough that we've got a couple leases and whatnot, a couple farmers that like us, that let us run clients and stuff, and they just say have at it, and we've got pretty much free range. If we want to hunt in pits, we can hunt in pits. If we want to run out of A-frames, we can run out of A-frames. If you want to run out of layouts, you can run out of layouts. And a lot of different fields we've got access to over there.
And the birds stay in town? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, yeah. So a lot of the times they'll either so the main roost in town is there's Hannah, and then there's a levee in town, and that's where a lot of the birds stay. But then Oscar and Johnson, they're two different lakes. They're outside of town a ways. They hold quite a few birds too. But a lot of the birds that we hunt when we're hunting in Fergus, like right outside of town, we're hunting the birds that are coming outside of Hannah and outside of the levee. But then when we're hunting, a little bit further out of town, 2 miles plus outside of town, we're hunting the birds that are coming from Johnson and coming from Oscar and stuff like that. So
that I just keep thinking about that bird just getting off the lake and just fucking right to you. Oh, I can see it in my mind. It's fucking beautiful. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it's definitely it was something completely new to me. I always have known what Fergus Falls was ever since I was in high school. I was about 15 years old when I learned what Fergus Falls was, and ever since I was old enough to drive. I mean, I remember me and my buddies, we'd skip school and we'd go down to the levee down in Fergus in the middle of town, and we just go down there and watch geese, count bands. I mean, sit there and just watch them. I mean, we'd skip school for, I don't even know, probably a couple days every week, a couple days every month. We'd leave school and we'd go down and watch geese. So.
Shit. Did y'all get a lot of neck collars around where y'all are, or is it mainly just the reeds?
Nope. So I've only seen one neck collar my whole entire life. On a Canadian goose, there's a blue one. Just out in the middle of a feed. He never ended up coming back. Feet down, I know they shot one last year or 2 years ago or whatever when they shot a blue one. But that's really the only ones I've ever seen come out of that area. So it's not a predominantly strong thing that you see over there. I mean, we get tarsal bands. We see quite a few tarsals, a bunch of double bands, and a bunch of single bands. So that stuff's pretty common around there.
How many dogs do you have to run when you're snow goose hunting? You said on the 89 you just let the dogs run whenever y'all were done.
Yeah, so typically I'll run my dog Easy. I got a black lab, 6 years old, and then Trevor, he's got Sage. Sage is 4 years old, and usually we would just run them. It'd either be one dog, or we'd run 2 dogs, one on each end. So we'd pretty much alternate in between 1 or 2, depending on how good we thought it was, or if we had room in the blind and whatnot for them. And then at the end of that hunt, we actually had so it was me. Trevor has 2 dogs. He has Sage and Six, and Six is just a puppy. He's 8 months old, but he's bigger than Sage is right now. Six is probably about 55 pounds at that now, and he's only 8 months old. But and then we have another guy. His name's Rob Phillips. He has a dog named Bowie, and we just let him run around. We were picking up decoys, and they were bringing birds back. So, but typically when we hunt, we'll either run 1 or 2 dogs typically.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's no different than it is here. It just kind of depends on. I think I hit a button. If you think it's going to be a burner, have 2 dogs out there and just take a little bit of the pressure off of just the one.
What's your limit up there? 3? Is your limit 3?
Oh, what's for Canada's? Yep. So last year was 3. Minnesota went through and they had a bunch of regs change this year, and they just upped it to 5 all year this year. So the whole entire year this year, we can shoot 5 Canadas. So
why?
Yeah,
it's the same with us. We got a 5-bird limit. I wish ours was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
As an outfitter,
yeah.
It's not. I mean, you're talking about if you got 8 guys in a pit from killing 24 to 40 birds. There's a lot of days you were done at 24 probably early that you're going to be hunting for 2 or 3 more hours to kill your 40 birds. On the great days, it doesn't make any difference.
No. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it yet. I guess we'll see when it comes, time. But as of now, I'm not super stoked about it. I thought 3 was just fine. I know down in Rochester, down in the parks and stuff like that, they're doing the little deal where they dip the goose eggs in the oil so that they don't hatch and stuff like that. I don't agree with that at all. You know, the DNR just went and upped all these limits and whatnot, and now they're going around, they're killing the population of canidas in Minnesota. You know, ruining our hatch and whatnot.
So hold on. So they're dipping eggs in oil so that they don't hatch?
You hadn't seen that? Yeah. They dip them in like a motor oil. They go right to the nest. I saw a video of it. People raising hell, and they just dip the eggs in there, and I guess they leave them, and then the eggs won't ever hatch.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I don't agree with that at all. They just, especially after they just upped the limit, I think it's pretty ridiculous. And then, I mean, people are posting videos of them doing this to the canidas. They're going out there and kicking the mama goose off their nests and whatnot, and then they're grabbing the eggs and dumping them in, and it's a big, I think it's a joke in my opinion, especially after they raised the limit, like I said, to be going around doing stuff like that. I don't think it makes any sense.
And this is the Minnesota DNR.
Yeah, well, it's the DNR and then the city of Rochester and whatnot going around. It all stemmed from a bunch of rich people in neighborhoods where the geese predominantly nest, and they're stepping in goose poop, or, you know, the geese are nesting on golf courses, and you got all these people out there playing golf. They don't like the geese. So they went and complained a bunch to the city, and now the DNR said, yep, go for it. And the city's going around and dipping these eggs and, you know, oil and stuff and just letting her fly.
That's crazy.
I would love I would love to have them here. Send me a nesting pair.
Yeah, no shit.
And a couple of eggs or a couple of nests. I'll put them right here in front of the lodge. I'd love to have a couple of graders here that stay with have nesting eggs. Now, I wouldn't want 100 of them shitting all over the place, but
to like, to your point, to up the limit to 5, and then just start, you know, you're fucking with the population by killing the eggs.
Now those birds they're doing that to, they stay right around Rochester though, don't they?
Yeah, typically they'll nest there and then they'll stay there and they'll fly down south from there and whatnot. But yeah, they'll typically stay there. But so the way that like the flight line works is they come out of Canada, they'll hit like Manitoba and stuff like that, and then they'll hit up by Bemidji, and then from Bemidji they'll go down to Fergus Falls, and then from Fergus Falls they'll hit Rochester, and then from Rochester they leave the state typically. So, but the yeah, I mean,
but the birds that are nesting in Rochester are local birds that are staying right around Rochester. So that shouldn't affect anything of y'all's, because y'all are north of there. But
no, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But it's just you know, kind of the fact. Like Rochester is, you know, years ago when the greater Canadian goose was considered, you know, quote unquote extinct or whatever, and Rochester is where they found them again. Is, you know, Rochester is the home of the greater Canadian goose, and they're going around doing this stuff to them, and it's just, I don't agree with it, not even the slightest.
Yeah, so. I don't understand that, especially when there's places like I seriously, if they would have said, hey, if y'all want to come up here and bring a trailer, we'll give you 4 nesting pairs of Canadas with their nest, and you can bring them down there and put them on your place, we would have done that. I'd have found 4 ponds around here to put them on.
They'd beat the fuck out of you.
I understand that, but
the whole way.
But they relocate.
Pissed off mom and
they relocate birds all the time, and there's places that they could do that without getting rid of all those eggs.
Yeah,
is all I'm saying. But the whole greater Canada goose deal, in my 30 years of being in the hunting business, I've seen the difference between when you didn't have the birds migrating and what you or the big birds, because the big birds used to really migrate a lot. Every big city in America now has got resident flocks of Canadas. Everyone, from the Texas coast to the Arctic Circle, every town has got resident Canada geese living there somewhere, just about any big cities. So they're very adaptive, and that's just a shame that it's come to that point that they're having to do that. But I have seen that, and boy, the people in Minnesota are raising hell about it. But I feel for y'all going to a 5-bird limit, because I think that's too many. I think 8's too many in Kansas and Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Do y'all shoot any speckle bellies yet where you're at?
Every once in a while we'll get them. This so far in my lifetime of hunting amphibious, which is not very long, I've watched 4 die. We killed 1 this year, and then I watched 3 die the previous year. So
I can remember. So we had a 3-bird limit, then we had a 4-bird limit, and then it was up to 5.
Yes.
And like I can remember like scratching out a 3-man limit, knowing that the limit's going to get raised the next year, and I was like, oof, I'd still be fucking hunting.
Yeah, I When I first started, it was a 3 birds, but it was 3 dart. We can shoot 5 birds now, and we can shoot 2 specks or 5 Canadas, but no more than 2 specks in your 5 bird limit, a dark limit. But when I first got in business, it was a 3 bird limit, and you could shoot 3 dark geese. Didn't matter what it was. Yeah. And I wish we had that limit now. I would love for just 3 darks. But on the days that it's really good, it really don't matter. I mean, you could have 5 or 20 is the limit. When the Canadas, especially the small Canadas, are working, it's an easy deal. But those days that it's not an easy deal, because you got that one client that everything's based on a limit to them. Mm-hmm. You know, if they shoot a 3 bird limit and 3's the limit, though, they love it. But if they shoot 3 birds and 5 birds the limit, then we only shot a little over half our limit. What a terrible day.
Yep.
So it'll be an interesting time for you. We're excited to hear about it for you. You'll love it. You'll love it. 5 birds, you'll love it. Be like, right.
Yeah, I'm sure. It'll be something. I'm sure.
Does Randy Bartz hunt around y'all anywhere?
Not that I know of. I don't know that name. So
you don't know who Randy?
I'm not. I don't.
The flag man. He invented the flag.
The goose flag.
You're.
I don't think he does. I haven't heard that name around Fergus Falls.
He's Rochester.
He's around Rochester. Him and Dave are good friends. He's a great guy. He's a pioneer in Minnesota waterfowling. Randy Bartz, great guy.
Well, Charlie, we're going to let you go here, bud. We appreciate you coming on, and good luck with the 5 bird limit. Like I said, you're really going to love it. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
So are you?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciated it. Pleasure talking to you guys.
So you'll get started in September in Fergus Falls.
Yep. Yeah, we'll be starting in September.
And then you'll make your way down to Dirty Bird again in the spring, right?
Yep. Yeah. So typically I'll work early season. I'll work in Fergus, and then I'll jump out with Dirty Bird, and then roll back late season for a couple hunts in Fergus, and then from there go back to Arkansas and stuff back down south. So
beautiful. You're a busy man. Busy man.
Yeah.
I'm sure the girlfriend gets used to you being gone. Now you're home all the time, and she's like, "When the fuck is he gonna leave again?"
Yeah. That's she's not a big fan of it, but is what it is. Got to go where the money goes.
That's right. So. And you're young. Get all this stuff. Do all this while you're young enough to do it, before you have time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I always say. So.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Wish you the best this year, and good luck. Go get them.
God bless you, and be safe and stay out of Minneapolis.
Thank you very much. Well, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.
Charlie Fox.
21 years old, owning his own guide service. Oh, that would be so much fun again.
In Fergus Falls.
That's a really neat area. Mm-hmm. I mean, really cool area up there. The Goose King lives right by him.
The one and only.
Would you be nervous if your family was in Minneapolis?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sad times for those people. Sad times for those people.
Yes, it is.
Prayers for them. Really sad about that little girl in Chicago. That bothered me so much last night.
I've not seen it.
7-year-old little girl and her dad were at McDonald's in Chicago yesterday, and she got killed in the car, and they just shot her. Just some fucking thugs driving down the fucking road. You ain't gonna hear Black Lives Matter. You're not gonna see Reverend Al. I mean, I don't understand why those black lives don't matter. That's what gets me about it. If you're gonna have an organization called Black Lives Matter, then by gosh, black lives should matter, and that little girl's life should matter. Nothing at all, and that kills me. Man, that bothered me last night more than anything that's happened in our country in a long time, because I thought about Dylan. She's 7 years old, wanting a Happy Meal. You go to get her something to eat. It's no big deal. There's been 165 black people shot, or 129, excuse me. There's been 165 people shot in Chicago since January 1. 129 of them were black. Mm-hmm. Guess how many of those 129 people have been shot by a white guy?
0.
No, you're off.
1?
1.
One person?
1 out of 129 was shot by a white guy. That's it. But they don't ever talk, and that just wears me out.
And they've got the strictest gun laws.
Yes, and I don't understand why they don't. We got a gang problem in these cities. That's the problem. And we got motherless or fatherless kids everywhere. It's a bad deal. But that little girl, just so many prayers to her family. That broke my. I mean, I'm telling you, that every time I'd wake up last night, I'd think about that. And I woke up every hour or two, and that's all that was on my mind was that poor little girl
And the dad.
and the dad just sitting in the drive-thru, taking his daughter to get something to eat, and some jackass just drive by in a car, just shoot, and no respect at all. And they'll never catch the guys that do it.
No.
Fuck. In Chicago, there's only like 8% of the people ever get caught that shoot somebody.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's a bad deal.
It is.
Anyways, somber time there. Thank y'all for listening. We'll have just have a good week. We got a couple more podcasts for the week. I'm kind of sidetracked now. Anyways, God bless y'all. Have a great day.
Check out all of our sponsors. Check out Goose Creek Retrievers now that Jeff's got the mood all turned. Matt Peel just he did good this weekend at the field trials. Check out Bangtail Whiskey, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Gun Dog Outdoors, Pacific Calls, Blind Grass, Dive Bomb Industries, Boss Shot Shells, Dirty Duck Coffee, Lucky Duck, and the Looking Glass Duck Club.